Hey y'all, welcome back to Movement Link and another follow along virtual class. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna talk real briefly here about the workout. We're gonna warm up together. We'll talk more specifically about the workout, strategies, tips, those types of things. I'll do the workout with you today, then afterwards we're gonna cool down. So what we have today is an 11-minute AMRAP for intensity and technique. That's as many reps as possible in 11 minutes. We're gonna start with one lateral burpee. That's gonna be do a burpee, and instead of doing a jump and clap, we're gonna jump sideways over the sandbag. Then we're gonna do one Sandbag Sumo-deadlift high pull. So a little bit wider stance, drive that sandbag up, and then we're gonna pull it up, trying to get our hands about collarbone height. Then we're gonna go 3 lateral burpees, 3 Sandbag Sumo-deadlift high pulls, 5, and we're gonna go add 2 reps every single round. So we're just gonna go odd numbered rounds as we work our way up, going as far as we can in the 11 minutes. All right, so get your sandbag near you and let's go ahead and warm up. All right, y'all, let's just go ahead and start with some arm swings across our chest. I like to start this way a lot in these classes, mainly because it gives us just some time to sit there and feel our feet nice and even on the ground. So don't get too toesy, don't get on those heels. 3 points of contact, nice and solid. We can check in on our posture as we just kind of get those arms swinging around. So let's go back and up here. As we do this, make sure belly button's drawn in, butt's tight, rib cage is down. We're extending up. As our arms go back, palms should be facing back. As we go up, palms should be facing back again. So we're gonna turn these into really big ones. And as you hit those difficult ranges for you, try not to change the shape of that back. Go big ones backwards for a while here. The goal here is really to get those arms burning. So if they start burning, don't worry too much about that. And then we'll go forwards. You can start focusing on keeping that breath into the belly. Okay, we're gonna rotate everything from side to side. Then we're gonna hinge over. We're almost taking a right-handed golf swing, and then we're gonna come back the other way with a left-handed golf swing. So we're just gonna swing, getting that lower body involved with the arms. All right, and then we're just gonna take a wide stance here. Squeeze those butt cheeks and let's shove your hips forward. We'll just keep rotating them back. So kind of lean back, squeeze your butt cheeks, shove your hips forward. Take your hands, one hand behind the other. As we do it, we're gonna lean back with it, but really make sure butt cheeks stay squeezed, belly button stays drawn in. And then we're gonna come down, just gonna hinge over. We're gonna wiggle from side to side. Feel your feet, and let's stay nice and balanced on your feet. So we don't wanna get to the insides or the outsides. We don't want your toes coming up, everything against that ground. And now let's trace some semicircles. So keep your hands as close to the ground as you can, but work them as far away from you as you can. Try and keep that balance on your feet, belly button drawn in. All right, so from here, we're just gonna come up. We're gonna take just a wide squat stance. What I want you to do is just take a wide squat. Feel weight even on your feet. We're gonna come back up. Just work your feet in. We're gonna do another one. So we're gonna get narrower and narrower. We're gonna do about 5 or 6 squats to work it in until you go with your feet touching. And then we're gonna work our way back out. So just keep working it in, just nice and slow. I'm not rushing anything. Really what I'm doing is from these different positions, giving a little pause at the bottom so I can check in on my balance, making sure I'm doing everything as best I can. What you'll notice is, especially as you move in narrower and narrower, that range of motion gets tougher and tougher. So once you do one, just go as low as you can with those feet together. We're gonna work our way back out. So just a few narrow before you get back to your normal squat stance. Feel your feet, don't rush anything here. Coming up. Then we should be getting close to that really, really wide one. So let's go ahead and try and get caught up there, going with our widest squat. And then we'll come up. As you're kind of waiting for people to finish, we'll go right back to the same thing. So squeeze your butt cheek, shove those hips forward as we wait for people to catch up here. Okay, now draw that belly button in, and we're gonna take your left hand, touch your right toe, and then come back up. So we're keeping those legs, they don't have to be completely straight, but we do want to get that rotation, but also feel that kind of hamstring stretch. So make sure that belly button stays in. As you go to one side, make sure those toes stay down against the ground and the heel stays down against the ground. When we return up, butt cheeks are squeezed. So we just kind of go back and forth here. Okay, now we're gonna take a partial wide squat, and then let's just act like we're in two dimensions, and let's just go kind of as high up as you can and over to the side. Breathe, you should feel a big side stretch here. Breathe into that side. And we'll go to the other side. Big side stretch. Feel your feet nice and even on the ground. All right, so in that wide stance, sorry, I'm moving around so you can see me a little bit better. In that wide stance, we're gonna go back down. Now we're gonna walk our hands out to a push-up plank position, but with that wide stance. We're gonna do 3 push-ups. You can still drop to your knees in this wide stance if you need. Once you've got 3 push-ups, we're gonna push into down dog, but with that wide stance. Then we're gonna inchworm our way back in. You can move your feet in just a little bit. We're gonna come back out into another push-up position. We're gonna do 3 more push-ups. Then push into that kind of wider down dog. You can pedal your feet back around. Just move your feet in. Now let's bring your feet into what would be your squat position. And then let's inchworm our way back out. 3 more push-ups. After that third, push into down dog. And then we can pedal your feet around. You can change your stance to whatever feels comfortable here. You're gonna pedal those feet around. Really push yourself down and through with your hands. Feel your full hand on the ground, twisting in just like you would a push-up. Then we're gonna take our right foot, go next to our right hand. We're gonna drop the back knee to the ground, squeeze that back butt cheek. Shove your hips down. And we're gonna go as far to the right as you can go. We're gonna go as far to the left as you can go with your hips. Keeping the belly button drawn in, keeping that trailing butt cheek flexed, wiggling around here. Now what I want you to do is you can pull that foot back or you can just lean into it. Trying to keep that full front foot on the ground. Lean in. We're just gonna get reps trying to push your knee as far to the ground as you can without the ankle collapsing and without the heel coming up. We're just gonna get some reps here. As you go, make sure that trailing butt cheek is flexed so we're still getting some hip work in there. And then let's go to the other side. So left foot next to the left hand. Drop that back knee to the ground. We're gonna start by rotating as far to each side as you can go. Check in, belly button should be drawn in. Trailing butt cheek should be flexed. As you hit end ranges that are tough for you, just try and breathe. Okay, let's lean into that front foot. And just think about getting reps. You're just trying to feel the full foot stay planted. You're just trying to use that ankle to its max range without forcing anything. Good to also note what feels tight. When you do this, if you feel like you're getting pinched in the front, maybe a band joint distraction. I've got videos on these things on MovementLink.Fit, but maybe a band joint distraction will be a good thing. If like Achilles or calf, if you feel different muscles stretching, then hitting those with some mobility work will be good. Okay, so since we're down on the ground, let's go ahead and get on all fours, screw your hands to the floor. Let's just move those shoulder blades around. So notice I'm not doing a cat-cow. I'm just keeping that back as neutral as I can and letting my shoulder blades move around. Now when I drop my chest down, I'm gonna shrug my shoulders up and push away. And I can also drop them down and then pull my shoulders down my back. Just trying to get some good shoulder blade movement in here. Let's go ahead and turn your hands around and lean back. Let's get into those forearms a little bit. You can lean back and go onto the fingers. But as you do this, try not to do anything goofy with those shoulders. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do 5 burpees. And we're gonna kind of work our way into a burpee progression where we can work on what we're gonna do with our arms. So what we're gonna do, since we're on the ground, let's go ahead and start completely on the ground. Check in on position. So butt cheeks squeezed, belly button drawn in, screwing your shoulders in the ground through those hands so your elbows are nice and tucked. We're gonna get into an arch position here, knees on the ground, and we're just gonna throw our butt up in the air and let our feet go with it. So we'll do that a couple times. Just throw your butt up, let your feet go with it. Okay, now on the next one, what I want you to do is just do the same thing. We're just gonna land in a jumping position. So throw that butt up, and then bring your feet here. Okay, let's do that a few times here. So arch, snap, feet into a jumping position, back, arch, snap, feet into a jumping position. The important thing to realize here is that when I land, I'm really bent over here, okay? So this is gonna be important in the lateral burpee because when we're moving into this position, we're here. And so if I'm gonna use my arms to jump, then I've gotta do a big old arm swing. But since we're here and our arms are already done, down, we can jam our elbows up and we can get a little pop. So let's try this for a second. Let's just bend over. Okay, from this position with your hands down, all I want you to do is jump, but use your elbows driving up to generate more power. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do 4 lateral burpees. When you come up, I want you jamming your elbows up to generate power. So arch, snap, jam your elbows up. We're not gonna have to do a ton of jumping on this one because the ruck is gonna be pretty low, but we are gonna need to jump. And just like if we're gonna jump as high as I could, if I jump without using my arms, I'm missing out on a ton of power. So even though these are small jumps, the more I can get those elbows involved is gonna be super, super helpful. Okay, so for some WOD prep here, what we're gonna do is just 3 rounds, 3 reps, lateral burpees, sandbag sumo-deadlift, high pulls. I think those sets in this workout are gonna be between probably sets of 3 to 5. So this is gonna be a good kind of try out of what those sets are gonna be. Don't worry, usually the first set, especially on something like this, feels extremely heavy. So pay more attention to what that third set feels like. That'll give you more of an idea once you kind of acclimate to that weight a little bit. So specific warm up here, 3 rounds, 3 reps, lateral burpees, sumo-deadlift high pulls. All right, let's talk tips and strategies here. We've got 11 minutes, so it's gonna be a long one. Sumo deadlift high pulls are gonna get nasty. Lateral burpees, they are what they are. Burpees are pretty much everyone's favorite thing to hate, right second to probably thrusters in there. So we've got a nasty one. You're not really going to ever want to be on either of the things. So this is just going to be a keep your head narrowly focused on the thing you're on type of workout. Lateral burpees, we should be trying to go at a pace where you can just go steady through. So what we see a lot of times is people will sprint burpees and then pace around out of breath. And what I like to do is see if I can just maintain a steady pace for my lateral burpees, and then it takes a lot of the decision making out of it. And I'm not going to break. How many before I break? I just know it's not going to feel great. I'm going to try and just keep moving steadily through the burpees. The sumo deadlift high pulls, these are nasty. That sandbag that we typically use here is pretty heavy. The weights, 120, 80 for elite. I use an 80-pound GORUCK sandbag. It's heavy for me. So what I'm going to look to do is probably go sets of 3 to 5, somewhere in that range. Which means I'm probably going to be going unbroken through 5. And once I get to 7, I'm probably going to go 4 and 3. I might go all 7. I might just kind of see how it feels at that point. But I'm really thinking 3s to 5s is probably going to be the amount of sets that is going to allow me to keep my rest relatively short and continue to chip away. What we don't want is a big sloppy set and then us pacing around for 30 seconds. So if we can't keep the rest reasonably short, 10, 15 seconds, that just means our sets are too big and we got to pull back a little bit. So 11 minutes. I expect elite people probably going to be getting into that round of 19, 21 maybe, but those are going to be incredible scores. So I think you can expect to get kind of 13 plus. That would be really good, just to kind of set expectations on where we're going to go. It starts off kind of boil you like a frog here. It starts off kind of trappy. These first few rounds you're going to hammer through them, and then probably about round 7 we're going to sit there and think, oh my gosh, this is going to get tough. So that's where the realization is going to come in, and that's where you got to put those blinders on, one thing at a time. So let's just make sure we're staying consistent on the lateral burpees, get that good arches snap through the elbows like we always talk about. Sandbag Sumo-deadlift high pulls. Let's just make sure we're pulling in a good position and we're not letting ourselves round that back and getting sloppy. So really focus on the good positions here. All right, let's go ahead and get that sandbag near you. Let's start taking a few breaths, and I'll join you here in a second. You're gonna need a lacrosse ball. You can actually use a foam roller today, any massage ball, tennis ball, golf ball, but lacrosse ball, something where it has a little bit of give and tackiness to it, is usually the best for these types of things. So you can follow along. We're not gonna need this right away, but you can kind of keep it close at hand because we're gonna use it in a little bit. And the goal today is to focus specifically on the glute, and we're gonna do a little bit of stretching and soft tissue work. So we're just gonna start in downward dog position. So you can start with your hands kind of out in front. We're gonna twist them to the ground just like we would a push-up, and we're just gonna press back. So push your hands into the ground, and we're just trying to draw the belly button in, stick the butt up in the air. You can pedal your feet around here a little bit, but we're really just working on getting set up. We're not gonna be here too long, goofing around, just trying to warm the areas up. Then what we're gonna do is we'll just come, you can go through from your knees. We're gonna lay down on our back. We're gonna do reclined pigeon pose. So right leg over the left thigh. You're gonna flex both feet, reach through your leg, and we're just gonna pull this way. You can grab behind your leg or you can grab in front of that knee. We're just gonna pull in. You should feel kind of a stretch on that right butt cheek, maybe in the hip there. And we're just gonna go for about another 30 seconds here. Drawing in, you can come off of it and back in, but you can kind of go left to right with it. But try and keep everything flexed, belly button drawn in. And then we can start putting that focus on breathing here. So just breathing into these positions. We don't want to protect, just breathing in, breathing in. Okay, coming up, got a few more seconds here, and then we're gonna go ahead and switch sides. So left foot is gonna go over the right. You can reach through or like grabbing on the other side of the knee. Let's make sure both feet are flexed. We're just laying back. We're just gonna pull that right knee to your chest, and in doing that, it's gonna stretch out that left hip, left butt, maybe a little bit of the hamstring and adductor. Kind of just depends on what's tight on you, but we're just gonna stretch that position. And then you can lean out to the right further, you can lean to the left further, so we can be active here. We're just gonna kind of set ourselves up and get a little bit of time in here. Have about 20 seconds more. Breathing, relaxing here. These recovery sessions are all about relaxing, getting those tissues to understand that it is okay for them to kind of move around. Okay, so next we're gonna grab that lacrosse ball. Okay, we're gonna start on the right butt cheek. Actually, I'm gonna start on the left just so y'all can see it a little better. It's gonna be pretty simple. I'm just gonna put that lacrosse ball down, and I'm gonna lean over on it. So I'm actually putting all my weight on it, so none of my butt is touching the ground. I've shifted over to the side, and I've already found a little spot. You might wanna search around a little bit, but once you find that spot, again, it's all about relaxing. Trying to relax onto that ball. Try to find whatever kind of lazy position you can find that allows your body to relax with that pressure on the ball. And again, we're going after the glute, right? It's just that butt cheek anywhere in there. There's not really a wrong place to go. If it feels wrong, then get out of there. But in general, we're just looking for a spot that isn't quite moving around the way it should. And how you know is if you apply a little bit of pressure into it, it is a little uncomfortable. So that's kind of what we're going for. Now that we're about a minute in, focusing on our breathing, we can start working on going through a range of motion with that muscle tacked down. So you can drop that knee out to the side. See if you can let it relax. You can bring that knee back up. So we can kind of do little butterfly motions with the legs. You can also put that leg out and you can act like you're squatting and go knee up to the chest and extend it out. For me, as I kind of tested those, what felt the worst for me was that knee getting dropped down to the ground. So I'm gonna go back to that position, let it go. Remember, if you hit a spot that's kind of tight, you can flex hard and then relax into it as we're going, just trying to relax. I have about 10 more seconds and we'll switch to the other side. And if I was doing this on my own, and if your butt cheek needs some help, let's go to the other side. You can stay, you can just hit pause on the video and just stay there as long as you need to. So other side, we're gonna start the same way. Lean into it, just breathing here. I'm trying to get, you can probably see space here between the ground, so I've got all of my weight in that lower half just on that ball. For me, my glutes are a little tight today, so it didn't take long for me to find a spot. I'm just gonna try and relax and breathe into that spot. As soon as I can feel myself stop protecting, that's when I'm gonna start moving in, just working through different ranges of motion, dropping that knee out, so just checking in on areas. This side doesn't feel as rough as the last side, so you can go that way. You can go through a squatting motion. You can put that leg up into a figure 4 position like we were doing in the pigeon pose. We can wiggle around, and then as we do it, if there's not one worse spot, that we can just kind of go through different ranges of motion. Main thing is every now and then pause and see if you can just completely relax into it. Breathing. So remember, a lot of this is we're trying to get the tissues to move around, but we're also trying to tell our brain that it is okay for those tissues to move. And if they're a little stuck together, we can get real protective. You can also pin that down and just wiggle your weight around. So as I kind of push that left knee over on top more, it's really digging deeper into that glute. We can always flex into it. Big breath in. Let it out and relax. I've shifted that leg over. Kind of felt myself start protecting a little bit more. All right, so now we're gonna pop up. Let's go ahead and stand up. You don't need the ball anymore. We're just gonna start, we're gonna go back to whatever your original side was. Maybe give yourself a little bit to stop getting dizzy here. And we're just gonna balance on one foot. So whenever we're doing this one foot stuff and whenever we're squatting and doing anything, we want the full foot on the floor, toes and heels. So now what we're gonna do is flex that foot. And we're gonna bring it over on top of the leg that you're balancing on. Then we're just gonna bend down. And again, focus on that very bottom foot. Keep an even weight, ankle stacked. Just gonna go as low as you can, and then we're gonna come back up. We're just gonna do this a few times, going down, so like standing pigeon pose, but we're almost making it into squats. Ooh, let's see if I can not fall over. And every time I lose my balance, it happens a lot more when I'm talking in these videos. It's almost always from me not paying attention to that midsection. So draw in, let's get nice and tight. We're gonna do one more. Go down as low as you can, get that good little stretch. You can always lean into it more, and then we'll come back up. Let's switch to the other side. So right foot, or whatever opposite leg, we're gonna flex the other one, put it on top. We're just gonna work on squatting down, leaning into it, getting that good stretch, maybe give it a pause, and then we're gonna come back up. Going down, giving it that pause, feeling the feet, back up. A few more here. Down, pause, lean into it, back up. One more, real slow here. Let's go down. Really lean into it. Breathe, make sure that bottom foot is nice and flat on the ground, and back up. Okay, we're gonna finish it off just with some hip bridges on the ground. So we're gonna lay back down onto the ground. Go ahead and get both feet Just up by your butt here, feet flat on the floor. We're gonna start by making sure we brace the right way. So draw your belly button in, hands can go out to the side, and then we're just gonna keep that belly button drawn in, and we're gonna press up and squeeze those butt cheeks together. Hard, push up, and then come back down. Now we're gonna draw that belly button in, keep it drawn in as we come up. Squeeze your butt cheeks. Come back down. We're gonna do that a few more times. Stay drawn in, come up. Really push your hips as high as you can. Make sure that belly button stays drawn into the spine. Come back down. We're gonna do it a couple more times. Up. Squeeze hard, push up high. Come back down. We'll go one more. Coming up. Back down. All right, let's go ahead and come up. We're just gonna finish it real simply with one squat. So feet flat on the floor. Let's squat down. Everything nice and tight. We're just gonna hit whatever your lowest really good position is. And we're just gonna spend some time hanging out there. So that's all we have for you today. So just remember, instead of having these superhero hour-plus long recovery sessions, that's what a lot of people think it takes to develop range of motion and flexibility. Instead of having to do that, really all we need is consistency. If you spend 5-10 minutes daily or almost daily and just get the work done, focusing in on some areas, not only are you going to recover better from workouts, but we're going to gain that range of motion. It's going to be slow, but range of motion is always slow. It's just like developing strength. We're going to gain that over time. So we have a bunch more videos like this one, a bunch more where you don't need any equipment at all. So check out MovementLink.Fit. Talk to y'all soon.